Chebukati has died aged 63. So what do you think is the legacy of Wafula Chebukati? What do you think is the legacy of Wafula Chebukati? So basically, he conducted two elections, the 2017 election and the 2022 elections. In both instances, Raila Odinga lost. So Raila Odinga lost the 2017 election, and of course the court annulled that election. The Chief Justice then, David Maraga, and the Supreme Court threw away the election. So basically, that was the first time in Africa that a court was throwing away an election. And then, of course, you had a repeat election in which Mr. Odinga really did not participate in that election, saying the reforms he wanted were not had not been instituted. So basically, Raila Odinga refused to participate in the subsequent election. But then, of course, Wafula Chebukati was still the one to preside the 2022 election. Of course, this time it is William Ruto that he declared the winner. But remember, this was a split decision because not all the commissioners agreed with the chairman. Not all the commissioners agreed with the chair. That is, you had the Cherera Four who said basically that they were not part of that. They were not part of those results. So now Wafula Chebukati got the same fate as that is Samuel Kibuitu. So basically, do you think Wafula Chebukati denied Raila Odinga victory? Did Wafula Chebukati deny Raila Odinga victory? That's what I would want to inquire from you. And I think that's about there needs to be electoral justice in Kenya. Of course, Raila Odinga says he has not lost. The only election he lost was the one in 1997. That is what Raila Odinga says. He says the only election he lost is the 1997 election. The rest of the elections he has not lost. So basically, do you think Wafula Chebukati denied Raila Odinga victory twice? And I think basically we should be calling for electoral justice. And I think we need. Why do we spend our time? Basically, now you have the revolt in Mount Kenya, but in 2022, Uhuru Kenyatta told Mount Kenya very clearly that vote for Raila Odinga, he will safeguard your interests. That is what Uhuru Kenyatta told the people of Mount Kenya, that President Ruto will not safeguard your interests. And now you're coming along, you're seeing Rigathi Gachagua saying that basically, you have Rigathi Gachagua saying that basically they will make Raila president by 11 a.m. Of course, that's another hint that Raila Odinga will be on the ballot in 2027. So basically, I think we need, when an election is close in Africa, there are usually problems. When an election is too close in Africa, then there are problems. You get violence. You remember Samuel Kibuitu announcing on December 30th that Mwai Kibaki had won the election. Of course, then you had violence. Then you had a lot of violence creeping up in the country, and that is what brought about this sort of violence. So basically, right now, you will have Wafula Chebukati. He will he died, and basically may his soul rest in peace. But you have Raila Odinga supporters celebrating, saying that he underwent the same fate as Samuel Kibuitu for stealing their votes. So basically, how should we manage our elections? If people are not going to accept election results, how do we manage our elections? That's what we should be asking. How do we manage our elections? And I think that's something that we really should be thinking about, because remember, when the election is too close, then basically you get this nudge that basically that the election is too close, and so in Africa you need to defeat the sitting candidate by at least 1 million, 2 million votes for them to accept their votes. There are very few countries in Africa, maybe like Ghana. I think Ghana is the only exception in which elections have been close and they did not result to violence. So basically, I think Raila Odinga supporters are celebrating that Wafula Chebukati is dead. Of course, you have Ezekiel Mutua, the chairman of MCSK, saying, CEO of MCSK, saying, since when did we celebrate speak ill of the dead, of course. But for Raila Odinga supporters, they say this man denied Raila victory twice. So basically, we need to be able to figure out electoral justice reform so that we know, because it seems that in Kenya, basically it matters not who votes but who counts the votes. In Africa, it matters not who votes but who counts the votes, and that's the way. And that is the fear we have, that elections are just too close to call, or sometimes that elections are not being done in a straightforward way. So then you have Wafula Chebukati basically bungling two elections. That's according to Raila Odinga. Look at the U.S. elections. You even don't know who. You look at the U.S. elections. You even don't know who was behind the electoral commission in America. You don't know. Usually, the election occurs on the first Tuesday of November of every fourth year in America. But then, of course, you have in that is so they elected Donald Trump in November. Then the media called out the elections, and then the electoral body, the elector, that's the electoral college, sat on in December, I think around 18th December, to formally cast the ballot for the president, and then you had Congress meeting on 6th January to be able to you had Congress meeting on 6th January to be able to elect the president formally. So basically, you have that is to certify the election, and basically, I think right now that's the state of the American elections. So basically, in Kenya, do we need to devolve the election to the counties? Do we need to devolve elections to the counties? Because trust you me, Raila Odinga is going to buy again in 2027. I think all indications that Raila Odinga is going to contest. I don't think he will support any of the candidates. I don't think he will support William Ruto. Even if he is made the prime minister, I don't think he will support William Ruto at all. I think Raila Odinga is going all out to be able to be on the ballot. And then when he does this, so basically, again, his victory will be stolen. So basically, for how many times will Raila Odinga keep contesting the election? And I think we need to talk about electoral justice. That electoral justice is the way to be able to talk about how do we handle elections in Kenya, in Africa. But I think defeating an incumbent president is very, very hard. That is, defeating an incumbent president is very, very hard. You need to beat them by millions and millions of votes for them to accept that they have lost. At least that is what basically I think Mutuma Maziu, the former Daily Nation editor, managing editor of the Nation Media Group, that is Mutuma Maziu, said in Africa you not only need to win but bury the sitting candidate at least millions and millions of votes. So basically, but I think there is hope in Africa. I think a lot of opposition candidates are winning. You had in Zambia in 2021, Hakainde Hichilema beat the sitting president Edgar Lungu. You had in Malawi the opposition candidate, that is Lazarus Chakwera, beat the sitting president, that is Peter Mutharika. In Ghana, you have the opposition candidate, of course, he was returning president, John Mahama, beating the ruling party candidate, Baumia. Then, of course, in Nigeria, you remember, then opposition candidate, Muhammadu Buhari, of course, he finished his term, beat the incumbent president, good luck, Jonathan. So basically, then you had in Gambia, the opposition candidate, Adama Barrow, beating the incumbent president, the 22-year running dictator. So basically, I think elections in Africa, we need to find a way in which we will be able to have a free, fair, verifiable election. I think that's the way we will be able to conduct free and fair elections. That's how we are going to be able to make sure that the people that it matters not who votes but who counts the votes. I think we need to do away with that opinion. For Raila Odinga, I would hope this time he will be able to put his house in order and make sure they have agents. I think not have agents in Azimio did not have agents in Mount Kenya, and maybe that could be room for irregularities. Remember, according to Gazi Gachagua, he says that President Ruto told him he will work his way to the second term. So basically, you have the Ruto inner sanctum of power, saying basically that Ruto, there has never been a one-term president, and President Ruto will not be the first. I think that's what the kitchen cabinet of President Ruto is saying. There has never been a one-term president in Kenya, and President Ruto will not be the first one-term president. So basically, you have those things, and so I think right now we should be able to have elections that are free and fair, and basically stop this stealing of elections, because you have people who are being discouraged at how their vote does not carry meaning at all. So I think Raila Odinga is going to win again. I think Raila Odinga is going to win again in 2027, but I think he needs to learn how to safeguard his votes so that then he can emerge president. I think Raila Odinga just wants a one term so that it can be in the books of history that he was once Kenya's president. I think Hakainde Hichilema has contested the election 4 times. He won it on his fifth attempt. That is Hakainde Hichilema. He started contesting in 2006, but of course, that is Ghana has, Zambia has had so many deaths of presidents. You remember Levi Mwanawasa, then of course you had Banda. So I think Rukia Banda dying in office. So Zambia has had so many presidents dying in office. But I think for Raila Odinga then the question is, can he safeguard his vote? Can Raila Odinga safeguard his vote? So that's what I think you need to know. That is what I think Raila Odinga needs to ask himself. Can he safeguard his vote so that he comes around and runs again in 20? He comes around and run again in 2027. So then that's it for the Kenyan politics. And then of course, in ideas, I'm asking, can a company have the resources of a multinational but yet have the speed and agility of a startup? That is, can a company have the resources of a multinational but yet have the speed and agility of a startup? So you had Nokia and Motorola, they were the market leaders in feature phones, but they never transitioned to be the market leaders in smartphones. That was taken up by the likes of Nokia, Samsung, and that was taken up by the likes of Samsung and iPhone and Apple. Then, of course, you had Microsoft, IBM being the market leader of personal computing hardware, but that never transitioned to be the market leader of personal computing software. That was taken up by Microsoft. Then Microsoft itself did not transition to be the market leader of search. That was taken up by the likes of Google. Then Google itself was the market leader of search internet, but did not transition to be the market leader of social media. That was taken up by the likes of Facebook, X, and of course Snapchat. And of course, the social media leaders of today will not be the market leaders of 3D augmented reality, where the person across the screen will seem as though they are in the same room as you, so that this will disrupt online commerce, online shopping, online dating, online learning, online telemedicine, and of course that is. And then of course you will have, and then of course you will have. For a capitalist, this is great. For a capitalist, this is great that a company that shows that capitalism is working in reassigning resources. Then basically, that shows capitalism is working in reassigning resources. But then, of course, you have business leaders sitting worried that if the incumbency cannot help them, what else will safeguard their position? Of course, then someone says then the trick is to be able to maybe fashion. The trick is to be able to spin off their own department, research and development department. So maybe it reports to the CEO directly. The chief innovation officer reports to the CEO directly. I think Google had such a thing where you used to work for the company for 4 days, and then the fifth day you could be allowed to work on your own personal project. So that's it about can a company have the resources of a multinational but yet have the speed and agility of a startup? Then, of course, in America, Donald Trump has introduced a gold card. Of course, even as he cracks down on illegal immigration, he says you should come to America illegally. So Donald Trump has instituted a gold card where, for instance, for wealthy foreigners so that they can come to America when they have at least $5 million, then they can invest in America. So basically, that is showing signs that they want to bring in the best and brightest. Investors are going to be flocking to America. And path to citizenship. So Donald Trump is going to institute a gold card that will ensure that people can immigrate to America with a gold card. So that will ensure at a fee of $5 million. So, I think that's it for now. Where Donald Trump is going to be able to institute another. That is another visa for the wealthy individuals. So that's it for now. Bye for now. This has been the Daily Show KE, where I look at matters basically that came up in Kenya today. And today I was asking, is Wafula Chebukati a hero or a villain? Is Wafula Chebukati a hero or a villain? So you let me know in the comment section. So remember to subscribe, like, and share. So bye for now.